The 1995 fighting game Tekken 2 is a nice improvement over its predecessor. And while this one isn't perfect, it's still more entertaining, even nearly 30 years later. You know, I had recently went back and replayed this, and it's just as fun now as it was back then. So taking place 2 years after the events of the previous game, Kazuya, he is more dangerous than ever. Especially considering that he's still dealing with that devil gene that he was born with. But when Heihachi returns, having survived the fall from the previous game, then all bets are off. And from there is a video game that actually holds up pretty well, even all these years later. The music is timeless, the graphics look good at the time, and quite frankly, I have so many beloved memories growing up playing this one. But what makes this game memorable is just how much polish the developer Namco put into it. Adding more story to the established lore, new and interesting characters, and ultimately a video game that everyone can pick up and have a good time with. Overall, when it comes down to it, if you somehow haven't played this video game, then check it out because it is well worth the time. I find ironic that Heihachi, he is now the protagonist, taking on his son once again, who is now known as Devil Kazuya. And so you know how he gets his revenge? He takes Kazuya and throws him into a volcano. Talk about the ultimate payback. And speaking of Devil Kazuya, by far one of the most difficult characters in this game. And even getting to him was difficult. Like, this is a hard game. It's not impossible to beat, but the AI has been improved. And you know, it's better. I like to say that when it comes to the characters, all of them return, plus we have some new ones, such as a boxing dinosaur and a boxing kangaroo. Yeah, I know, it's odd. But then again, the first game had Kuma, who is a fighting bear, so I never really questioned when it came to these new characters. But still though, is this game significantly better than the first? Yeah, you got new game modes. You have some more replay value, and quite frankly, just getting to all the characters in this. Yeah, it is quite a delight. This game is still enjoyable, even nearly 30 years later. And I have to say that while it's not perfect, while some of this game could have used a little bit of polish, it did came out back in 1995, so I forgive its shortcomings. At the end of the day, while not the best fighting video game out there during its time, it is quite enjoyable. And while it does have its flaws, it certainly is not a dumpster fire either. I'm giving this video game a 7 out of 10. This is personally one of my favorites of the franchise, and considering the recent release of Tekken 8, a lot of people would consider this whole series one of the best video game franchises out there. And the reason being is because all their video games have been considered high acclaim. This whole franchise has not had one horrible video game in its nearly 30-year existence, and I have to say that is pretty impressive. Because most video game franchises that's been around for a long time, their games start to fall into mediocrity after the first few installments is because of repetition. But that was never the case with this franchise because they had changed it up over the years and also provide interesting stories as well. And that is my review of Tekken 2. Alright, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this video game. Now, my review of Tekken 3 is coming out later this year, and a lot of people consider that one of the best video games ever made. Okay, this is Slim Guy 172 saying, peace out.